Hello and welcome to, your final assignment here, which is the Bat-Symbolism assignment. All right, so the first thing we have to know is, what is a symbol? Well, in short, a symbol is anything, and this can be something concrete or it can be something intangible, that stands for more than its literal meaning. So this can include many things, but the example I think I include in here is the example of a heart shape. So if somebody draws a heart, you don't think of, a literal heart usually, right? You think of the associations we have with that symbol, which includes things like love and affection, stuff like that, right? It stands for more than than just the shape that it is, or the literal thing that it is. So lots and lots of things can count as symbols. So for this project, you're able to use the text that you worked on or read yesterday, or you can read a new text. It's up to you. So what I'm going to do is just walk you through the process. And for that purpose, I'm here. And this is the book that I'm going to be working with. So I'm going to get pause and unpause a couple times here. So it's a story about essentially the one of the souvenirs in the Bat Cave. So on this page, we're introduced, to the main characters here of the story, or most of the main characters. So we have Commissioner Gordon, Batman, Robin, and the Bat Hound, which is whose name happens to be Ace. So what they have been called to investigate is the disappearance of a royal treasure. We have a king here, another main character, who is, asking for their help in finding the missing national treasure. And as soon as Batman looks away, the king disappears, apparently kidnapped. And then they get another call that another treasure, I guess you could say, sort of, has disappeared, which is the crown on the Queen Music Hall statue. And it turns out that the culprit is the Joker, who has somehow, I guess this is a little futuristic, because he has somehow engineered this card, I guess Joker card, to fly. So he's kind of using it like an attacking flying carpet. The electromagnetically powered card, not only is a Joker flying around on it, but he also has the kidnapped king held hostage on it. But fortunately for everyone, the Bat Hound Ace is able to knock Joker off the card. And at the end of the story, Robin asks Batman if they can keep the card in the Batcave to remind them of how they, won the day that time. Really, more a reminder of the dog, I would think. And Batman says it'd be a shame to discard it. Oh boy. So the first thing I want to do is get down just what I think the symbols could possibly be. Well, we have the dog, of course. That would be one symbol, probably. The next, well, of course, cards. And how do I know? Well, the things that will count as symbols, the things that probably appear more than just one time in the story. It may not be the exact same thing. So in this case, for example, it's the same dog. However, it may be dogs, plural. It may be a picture of a dog, and then maybe an actual dog, right? So just it's something that will appear more than once. Then we have cards. And then it can also be intangible things. For example, the idea of having a flying card. So I'll talk about that in a second. What does that mean? And then I might think about some of the other things that pop up throughout the story, and I could probably include a number of other things. But in this case, I'll say, well, what about the king and queen? King and queen, or I could just do one or the other, of course, too. All right, now the next step is to figure out, well, there are two possible ways to do this. One is to look up a symbol. Does it have a kind of universal meaning attached to it? For example, dog. What about loyalty, for example, right? Do dogs, generally when we think about dogs, do we think about loyalty? Yes, right? That's a kind of universal association that we have with dogs. But then I also have to think in terms of the text that I just read, is that the function that the symbol serves? So I could put loyalty, but I probably would change over to thinking about sort of the one of the roles that dogs play, which is helpfulness, right? Assistance to their owners, and then also I could think about maybe instead of just loyalty, like protection, for example. So I'm going to put here for dogs, I'm going to put helpfulness. And in the text, well, how does that symbol of a dog represent helpfulness? Well, ace, dog, is the character who ultimately beats Joker. Cards. Okay, so another way to do this is, maybe I'm not sure, right? What is the significance here of a card? Well, I gave you this link here to the Dictionary of Symbolism, and it's not complete, but you'd be surprised at just how many symbols are going to pop up when you just look for them in here. So there it is, cards, and there's a lot of reading I can do here about cards. All four designs can be symbols of life. That's interesting, didn't know it. Cards can also represent luck, good or bad. That's interesting. I get all the stuff here. Then it tells me which are the unlucky cards. I'm not sure that is relevant this time around. Also, what the different suites perhaps mean. But I can also go to the more, like, what does it symbolize? Well, cards symbolize, well, you see the passage of time. We have weeks of the year. 13 cards in a suite can represent the lunar months in a year. And I'm not really seeing stuff specific to the Joker necessarily, but the fact that it represents fortune, like the hand that fate dealt me, is interesting, and that's something I could certainly use over here. So I'm going to put fate, and then I have to figure out, okay, does that work? And is that the function that these serve within the text? Well, to a certain extent, I suppose. But probably it's probably more the fact that it's the game, and they're associated also with the game of their games of chance, gambling, and so here where I put that, I could say, how does that work out? Well, essentially we have Batman, and well, let's see, Batman is forced into playing Joker's game. Right? There's a nice connection there to the text. It's the flying card. Okay, what does that represent? Well, you have a card, it's flying, it's in a superior position. So I would say that the fact that it's above or in a superior position is probably what the whole flying thing means. So I'll just put superior position. How does that connect to the text? Okay, well, when Joker is flying the card. That's a weird sentence. When I should say, when the Joker is flying the card, he is winning the game against Batman. And when the card falls to the ground, Joker has lost. I should put that in quotation marks. Has lost game to Batman. All right, so we have. Then I can look at the idea of king and queen. All right, I'm going to go ahead and go back over to this dictionary. I can say royalty. That makes sense. How am I going to attach it? That's probably pretty easy because we have a king and queen. But I'll look at king and see what it has to say. The king is a symbolic figure of authority and power. Together with his queen, they embody the perfect union. So that's interesting, both of those things. I might come over here and put power and union. And then how does that connect to the text? Okay, well, the Joker essentially, just put the Joker by kidnapping the king, essentially, gains. There we go. Gains power in the story, the text. All right. So now I have my symbols and meanings in order. There's a connection. If you are able to make a connection, generally that's because, hey, that's because there was a connection to be made. Now, the next step is I'm going to go up here and I'm going to search for symbols, and I'm just going to use the simple Google one here that coordinate or images that coordinate with each of the symbols. So I'm going to go here, search the web. One of my symbols was dog, and sometimes I'll just add on transparent to make sure that it gives me something that's going to work. I could use any of these items. I'm going to go ahead and use this one. Insert. You're welcome to use multiples of the same image, so why don't we do that this time? It doesn't matter how you place them. This is your collage. So I did Control-C, Control-V to copy and paste. I'm supposed to copy and then paste a new picture of it. Okay, and then the next one, cards. So I can just look that up. And that's helpful. It'd be nice. Let's see. Okay, there's a whole deck. That'd be a nice one. Now, this is not the kind of cards I really meant, but hey, it works. And of course, I can. Let's see what we have. I can find different images, but that all correspond to my symbol. Or it can be the same. Doesn't matter. Whatever you want to do. So here I am looking for symbols for power now. Hey, that's fine. This is these are symbols for power. So I'm going to go ahead and this one's, it's funny because it's computer power in this case. Put that in. And now I'm looking at flying card, and you know what? I may not find anything that's going to work, right? It's kind of very particular. But, here, sometimes you'd be surprised. Here's what looks more or less like a flying card. So I'm going to use that. And if not, look for a picture that touches on the concept. So Maybe I can't find flying card, but I can find things that have to do with flight, right? Okay, airplane, that's fine. That's going to work. And I'll go ahead and use this one again here. All right, now I have this mostly complete. So the next thing I want to do now, all these because all these pictures are new, they're newer than any of the pictures that were included when I created the template. Is newer ones are in layers added on top of what was already there. So you can actually control the order of pictures. And so we want to do that in this case. So I'm going to go over to the Batman symbol. I clicked on it to select it. I can see it's selected because of the blue outline. And now I'm going to go to Arrange, Order, Bring to Front. Okay, now, so what I've done is I made this picture the front layer. Now the last step here is I'm going to drag it over. Something like that. And now I have my bat symbol on my bat symbols, essentially. Okay, so once I've finished this, I have step 1 and step 2 completed. Then I'm finished with the assignment. And at that point, I can go ahead and submit it. All right, well, I hope this helped. And I apologize that I'm not able to be with you in person today. So have a nice rest of the day, and I hope this helped.